Hello, money queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, ladies and money queens. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions, season 3. And this season, I am very excited because we are going to focus on the journey of divorce. It is messy. It is dirty. It's probably when you're going to be the most vulnerable, when your insecurities are going to be triggering all over the place all the time. A lot of stress, a lot of change. And this season, we are bringing to you 13 amazing, amazing women who have focused on divorce, professionals from all across, from real estate agents to CPAs, business evaluators, to even a stylist, mediators, litigators. We have found a powerhouse tribe of women who all have something to say on divorce because they want to make it better. They want to make it better for women like you. And this is why we had to dedicate an entire season of Women Behind the Millions to divorce. Because if you've been through it, or your sister, or your girlfriend, or your mother, your grandmother, or your aunt, right? Your daughter, all across the board. Divorce is real. It's very prevalent. It seems to be on the rise ever since the pandemic, which is interesting. The demographics are changing. And the women who are now in their 60s and 70s getting divorced and really wanting something different for this huge phase of their life through retirement, through their refinement, as we call it at the Wealth Boutique as well. And as you know me, this is now our 3rd season together on Women Behind the Millions. We always start with a grounding, a prayer, meditation. And this morning, as I'm looking through, what does God need to say? Because really, when I'm here with you, it's God in me and through me out to you. And I let him kind of lead me and what needs to go. So I pulled up actually Matthew's in the Bible, verse 5. No one lights a lamp to put it under a tub. They put it on the lampstand where it shines for everyone in the house. In the same way, your light must shine in people's sight, so that seeing your good works, they may give praise to your Father in heaven. This is God giving us permission for our light to shine and to shine as bright as possible. And when you're going through something that can be as nasty, as trying as divorce, we forget that we do have a light. And our goal through this series and through our newest book, Divorce Decoded, we'll bring on Donna Cates, our lead author of the book here shortly, is for you to find that light again, to reignite it, to let it shine bright. And it might be a different light than it was before. When you were married, you probably are now finding who you really are outside of all these identities that society, that your marriage, that your husband, your spouse have put on you. So if anything, God is giving you permission to be bright, be loud, be seen, all of those. And if you aren't ready for that yet, do not worry. That's why we have our new book. We have this season of Women Behind the Millions as well to get you to that place, because there's going to be healing involved. There's going to be a lot of clearing out of things. And that's one of the steps, right, is to clear things out, to declutter, to shed things, whether it's physical objects in your house, in your wardrobe, or relationships or energies, memories, trauma, right? Shed, clean them out, heal what needs to be healed, and then you really can give yourself permission to be seen. So I'm going to bring here on stage with us Donna Cates, our divorce source at the Wealth Boutique. Donna Cates, thank you so much for being here with us this entire season, our co-host on Women Behind the Millions. And thank you for being such a pioneer in the divorce space. Why was it so important for you, Donna, to be the lead author in Divorce Decoded, a manifesto for women navigating divorce and beyond?
I'm going to tell you that your opening words from the scripture that you read, being the light, that is my calling, is to be the light, because the fact is we women don't know anything about what the divorce process looks like until we're thrown into the lion's den. So for me, I had the personal experience of divorce. So I know all the emotional turmoil, the legal crap, the things that we just don't know. And my goal is to help educate women on all the things that they need to know that they have no clue they need to know. And all that you said in the introduction about clearing out and giving ourselves space, allowing ourselves to be a new, better person. That's why this book is so important to me.
Oh, it's going to be life-changing, game-changing for women going through it. Just to be surrounded with so many women who get them, hear them, understand them, give them the space to show up if they're in sweatpants and they can't, their hair is a mess, there's no makeup on. But then coming through that journey together and then getting to the other side as well for it. Has it been like bringing together these incredible women for this project?
Well, being in the divorce space as a financial advisor, I've had the privilege to work with professionals all across the US and in all different categories. So when we talk about the fact that it takes a team to go through the divorce process, that's why these people are so important, because like you said, it's not just the divorce attorney who's the first person that we typically think of when we say the D word. There are all types of professionals that are trained specifically to help us through this transition. So bringing these professional women in to speak their voice, to share their stories and their experiences to help us be more informed, to me, that can be life-changing and very impactful.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Today we have with us, and the theme for tonight's episode is taking the drama out of divorce. I'm sure that you've been doing divorce work for how many years now?
I have been in this space for 20 years.
20 years. You've seen some drama.
Mm-hmm. Daily.
What would you say is the common piece when there isn't so much drama in the divorce?
When there isn't as much drama, we're able to be focused on making decisions that are going to be the best for our family unit. The family's not going anywhere. We're just going to look different. So when we don't have all the drama and the emotions, we can actually focus on the best outcome for everybody.
So being solution oriented.
Correct.
Versus sitting in the problems and the drama, the politics, triggering each other, pushing each other's buttons. It's being able to move past all of that for the good of the family and the good of the money too. I mean, you and I, we deal with the money side of things all day long. Drama usually leads to leaking money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are some things that you want to hear from with our guests on tonight's episode? Cary Jacobson, I'm going to introduce her here in a little bit, but what are some of those key pieces? She is a mediator. She has her own boutique law firm as well. What are some things that you want to ask her tonight?
I'm hoping that Cary can share with us the different avenues of divorce. Excuse me, I got a cough. Those allergies. But the avenues of divorce, because there are many avenues, mediation, I would like for people to understand who is appropriate for mediation, who would be good candidates for it, as well as the benefits and any potential drawbacks in mediation. I think that would be really helpful people to understand. And one thing I'll say is that here in my state, in Alabama, now the attorneys and the judges are wanting people to mediate even if their case is litigated. So they're sending them to the mediators first. And a lot of these are being forced upon the individuals. It's not something that they're voluntarily doing. So understanding the difference between choosing to mediate versus being court ordered to mediate, I think would be very helpful.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm really excited to have Cary here with us on the show tonight, part of our newest book at Pink Fix Productions, Divorce Decoded, a manifesto for women navigating divorce and beyond, is coming this fall of 2024. Cary Jacobson's coming from us. She is the founder and managing partner of Jacobson Family Law Firm, a virtual boutique law firm and mediation practice in Maryland. As an expert in mediation, Cary is dedicated to guiding individuals and couples through the complexities of divorce with compassion and expertise. So thank you, Cary. Here she is, ladies. Thank you for being on the show tonight, Cary. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I cannot wait to dive into, we already started to talk about it, tonight's episode and you. Cary, first off, I would just love to hear your story and what got you into law. I'm guessing it was law first and then mediation as you saw the drama ensuing with divorce. So Cary, take us through your journey, opening up your own law firm, all of it.
Sure. Again, thanks for having me. So I have honestly wanted to be an attorney since I was probably in elementary, middle school. My mom started working for a family law attorney or a kind of a general practitioner many years ago as a legal secretary, and that's really what sparked my interest. Though what I wanted to do in the law changed over the years, because initially, divorce was like, that's so boring. Why would anybody want to do that? So I wanted to originally become a prosecutor, which was going to lead me to becoming a judge. And then there was a brief period of time where I was going to go to the FBI after law school. None of that happened. I did go to law school about 5 years after graduating undergraduate, and I come from a family of divorce. I had my major in undergrad was sociology with a psychology minor, so it really led itself to family law. And so with all of that, I worked in a regular firm where we did a lot of the traditional family law litigation. And I just saw how terrible litigation is for families, and especially for the kids. So because of all of that, I actually took mediation while I was in law school. And so I had that as a background and knew that was, really an opportunity for me to make the divorce process better for individuals and families ultimately.
Wow. It's funny. You're talking about being a little girl wanting to be a lawyer, going through a family divorce as well. And then as you saw how litigation was tearing apart families, you're still thinking of that little girl.
Yeah.
Full circle of it, wanting to do it differently. Do you approach divorce differently, having gone through it how old were you during the family divorce?
I was about 7.
That young age.
Yeah. So, and yes, I would absolutely say that I approach it differently than most. Once I started my practice several years in, I made the conscious choice to only work in out-of-court resolutions. So we do not work with individuals in any contested litigation, because I've seen how terrible it is for families. So we have the mediation side of the practice. We do also represent individuals in negotiating agreements. We work on collaborative divorce and pre- and post-nuptial agreements. So all of the different ways to really help people resolve their, divorce issues outside of the court.
You're talking about a lot of things, as Donna, we were talking before Cary even came on the show, of Donna, why don't you and Cary go through the different avenues of divorce? Because that kind of just segued right into it, to explore those more. Because a lot of people aren't familiar. They think divorce, they're going in front of a judge. He's going to be the be-all, end-all decision maker. But that's not the case a lot of the times.
Yeah, and I will say that Cary's mentioned litigation. That's what we know from what we see on television. And divorce court is so far removed from that. First, even if you go down the litigation road, only 95% of divorces in litigation. I mean, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Actually, end up in front of a judge. Okay, so only 5% of them end up in front of a judge. So what that means is that what are we doing with before we actually get to the judge? And I love the fact that Cary has a line in the sand that says we're only doing non-litigated work. But that if you can elaborate, Cary, on the different methods of divorce from litigation, collaborative, mediation, that'd be awesome.
Sure. So I'll start with mediation. That is a process where a couple is working with a neutral third party, the mediator. And in that role, the mediator is helping that couple communicate and try to reach a resolution on all of the issues that they have to deal with. And with the couples that come to us, sometimes they have, worked out a lot of things on their own and just need a little hand holding through the process. Others really have not started that conversation because communication between them has broken down. And so they come and they have those conversations in the mediation space. The ultimate goal is to help them reach a full and final resolution, which will become their separation agreement and lead to their final divorce decree. Lots of great, and we'll talk about some of the benefits later to mediation. An alternative to that is the collaborative divorce process. And that is a formal alternative dispute resolution process, but it's more of a team approach. So in my opinion, it's a bit more hand-holding than the typical mediation space. In collaborative, both of the parties in the couple will have their own collaboratively trained divorce attorney. Many times they will each have their own divorce coach who is a mental health professional that will help them in the parenting plan issues if they have minor kids, also help them in simply communicating with one another, right? And then we can bring other professionals in, such as a financial neutral. We've worked with real estate agents, mortgage brokers, child specialists. So there's lots of different professionals that can be involved in that collaborative process. One of the most important pieces of collaborative that sets it apart from others is everyone on that team signs something called a participation agreement, wherein they're basically saying, we're going to give this our best good faith effort. We're going to be completely transparent in the process. And if for some reason that process breaks down, the parties have to hire new attorneys and new professionals to go to through the litigation space. So again, it's a buy-in.
And have you found, Cary, that the fact that they have invested so much time and energy into that collaboration process, that actually helps to encourage them to work through everything so that they don't have to start over?
That has been my experience. Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
And then I guess the last option for individuals or couples is settlement negotiation. So this is where most of the time each party is represented by their own attorney, and either they or the attorneys are communicating with one another in trying to reach a resolution of all of the issues. And that can be really effective for those couples who have a bit more of a strained relationship, and that makes communication difficult.
Got it. So let me ask you this question. For those, if you could define for us who would be appropriate for mediation, because there are some circumstances where it's just a no-go from the beginning.
So I'm probably one of the odd ones out and says almost anybody can do mediation. It's a matter of how it's approached. So the common scenario was if there was any issues of domestic violence. Well, now we have virtual mediation. So people can be in a safe space and not have that fear of physical harm that they previously may have had if you were in a room together. So that is not a concern as much as it used to be prior to having this virtual environment. Many times the only other situation would be if there's a huge disparity of a power imbalance. But as a mediator, we have tools to address those. And that could be maybe each person has their attorney present, or sometimes putting them in virtual breakout rooms so that there's not that, direct power imbalance and intimidation.
Oh, that's good to know. I was thinking the same thing, Donna. Are there cases, mental illness? What about that, Cary? If there's some mental illness going on.
Mental illness and substance abuse are probably the two that many times end up leading to litigation, because it's very challenging in those situations to negotiate at all, right? Because of the dynamics in that relationship.
Yes. Going back to the collaborative law, the participation agreements, I just think everybody should have all their clients always sign those. It's like, we are committed. If I'm committed to this, we both need to be committed to it so we can move forward at a pace and keep the momentum going for it as well. Too. Any questions, other questions, Donna, for Cary, going into the different ways to divorce?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Okay. I have some other ones. I'm curious, Cary, what are the ways that you give back in the divorce world?
So I am a second Saturday leader, along with a colleague of mine. We do a second Saturday each month. We do them usually on Wednesdays at lunchtime, but really in, educating individuals on all of those process options that are available to them. And also I work, the limited litigation that I do is the appointment of working with kids. So if there is a major custody conflict and dispute, then the court can appoint me to represent the children, to be their voice, and to help the parents reach a resolution. That's the place I find, really love having that assistance in helping the parents come to a resolution.
Oh, wow. Very good. Big education out there. You seem a huge resource. What's it like when somebody, I like Cary, I want her to be part of my divorce. I'm the female wanting to get divorced. What does that process look like to start working with you? Yeah.
So initially would be contacting us to schedule a consultation. If we are going to work with a couple in mediation, we do a joint consultation with both parties, explain what the process is, answer questions about that process, and then help them along that journey. The other side of the process is if an individual is looking for representation, then they would schedule a consultation and we would work with them in negotiating their settlement agreement or in the collaborative divorce process.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was curious. So mediation, you're the neutral.
Yes.
So you're not going to be meeting individually with them. They're coming in together for it as well. How long these days, and Donna, you're a mediator in Alabama as well. So I'm curious, in Alabama and Maryland, how long does the divorce process take? Let's start with mediation. What does that look like?
So in our process, I will say that most of our clients finish in 3 sessions or less.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. Many of them really do come in. They only need 1 session. We draft the agreement and they're kind of on their way. We actually will work with parties to file their divorce as well. Once they've signed the agreement, we do encourage them to have their own attorneys review it, ensure that they, ask those questions, because as the mediator, you can't give them legal advice. But generally speaking, I would say 2 months, 2 to 3 months in most situations.
2 to 3 months. And is that including filing it, the judge signing off on it?
That typically takes another 2 to 3 months, depending on exactly what jurisdiction they're in.
So pretty, 6 months.
Yeah.
4 to 6 months. That is very quick. How about you, Donna?
Well, and that's what I was going to say is that, the process of mediation may only take 3 months, but what a lot of people don't realize is just the processing through the court system. So we really have to know, we're not going to file for divorce today and be done tomorrow. So that's really important. So for me, in my mediation practice, I'm only mediating the financial issues in divorce. So mine may look a little bit different because we're dealing with money. Sometimes it can be 2 sessions. Sometimes I think the most I've done are 5 sessions, but then they have to move on to an attorney who's actually going to file for the divorce and then process all of the legal documents. So that's separate from my process. And another thing that I will say that is interesting in mediation is that court-ordered mediation, you're typically showing up with a person that you don't know. You may or may not have your own attorneys there because it's court appointed, and you sit down in a room and you do it until it's done. So that might be 2 hours, it might be 10 hours. So in the processes that Cary and I are talking about, we're actually able to schedule the process and take as much time and breaks in between as we need to.
Yes, the breaks are so important. You're doing something for hours on end that your eyes are going to glaze over. You're going to give up, you're going to relent, or you're just going to stick to your guns. It's not going to be the best outcome for either party. What are the big drama pieces? Going back to the theme of the episode, and Donna, you're the finances, so I can guess money is one of them for it too. Okay, what are the drama pieces that you see most couples fighting over in divorce?
Money is definitely one of them, and the custody aspects. Custody is many times a big hot topic. So figuring out for the parties what's going to be best for the kids and what can they both live with. And I would say really the other piece is each of them having their emotions in check. Right. So that's really the key. If people come into the mediation space in a emotionally regulated manner, then typically there's not that drama because they're focused on trying to reach those resolutions.
Have you ever rescheduled because you noticed one of the spouses or maybe both are just too charged up for the day for the meeting? Have you ever done that?
So I also do court-ordered mediations. There's definitely a different vibe in the room when it's court-ordered versus if it's private. I've had a couple of scenarios where I had to mute all the parties because I couldn't understand either of them since they were yelling at each other. But usually in that situation, I will put them in different breakout rooms, and then I can do what we refer to as shuttle mediation and go back and forth between the two of them. And that's a good solution in trying to make some progress because it's not them competing over, well, this is what happened, right? And this is how things occurred. In mediation, as a mediator, that's not my role. My role is not to determine, what took place and who's right and who's wrong. My role is really, this is the scenario now. How are you guys going to move forward from here? And what are you going to do to make it better?
Oh, very good, Cary. Very good. What are things that women can do to prepare themselves for mediation, whether it's around the custody or the money? And I asked because I remember, and this was years ago, one woman came in oblivious to the money, had no idea he was the breadwinner, he earned the money. And after, I want to say it was 25 years of marriage, asked for a divorce. All right, she's in her 60s, hasn't worked in a while, special needs son. And she came to meet with me. She said, I want to understand this before I go into, and they wanted to do mediation and they ended up doing mediation, understand this. So we spent some time together. She went to the mediation session and he was talking to her like she had no idea what was going on with the money, right? Trying to put some things over her head. And she goes, actually, I sat down with my financial advisor. And then he sucked in his breath. He said, you did what? It threw him off. but she just felt so much more empowered and confident, educated to be in that meeting and to hold her own, to have some power in her ground. So the women who are watching this, or for their sisters, best friends, mothers, daughters, how can they prepare so that they have that feeling when they walk into the room?
It really is arming yourself with that support team.
Mm.
I think Donna mentioned this, before I came in, that the divorce process really is a team effort. And so it's working with a financial advisor. It's working with an attorney in preparation, in having, an idea of what it is that you're seeking. Maybe it's on the financial piece, maybe it's on the custody aspects. It's working with potentially a divorce coach so that you are emotionally regulated and are ready to have that conversation in a business-like manner. So really doing all of that prep work ahead of time will make the mediation that much more successful, because now you're focused on the issues that need to be discussed and addressed.
Ooh, arming yourself with that team. What would you say, Donna?
I want to add this, knowing that Cary is a fellow Second Saturday leader. I have to say that my experience is the women that come to our divorce workshop, where we talk about the emotional issues of divorce, the divorce process, the financial issues and concerns. Anytime these women meet with an attorney, the attorneys know that they've been to a Second Saturday workshop.
Wow.
So I think we're actually helping them get prepared. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, because I do want to go into, as we're running out this segment of today's show, and then Cary's going to share her divorce, the trend that she's noticing happening in the divorce world, her divorce tip. You do not want to miss that. As you can see, she's very well versed and educated in this field. Her expertise is so robust. But the Second Saturday workshops, let's talk about those more. And the fact, that's huge kudos to you, both of you who do the work of the Second Saturdays, and everybody across the country who do them, that the attorneys can know such a difference between the women who come from those or not. And they become educated, they become coachable, their expectations are set. I think that's a big disconnect with the divorce too. So Cary, talk to us about the Second Saturdays, and then I would love for you, Donna, also to talk about it.
Yes, so Second Saturday is a nonprofit organization that was started in San Diego, and now is all across the United States. Many of them were previously in-person meetings. Some of them still are. Many of them now have gone to a virtual format so that people can attend from wherever they may be. And really, it's an opportunity for people who are attending to learn about the emotional side of the divorce, work with a financial in discussing the financial aspects, property division, alimony, all of tax ramifications, and also with an attorney who is discussing all of the legal aspects and different process options that are available to them. It's really an educational opportunity to let people know, what the options are out there, and give them the tools to take the next step.
Oh, that's amazing. What kind of commitment do the women have to show to be involved?
Really no commitment. Each one each Second Saturday has a different format as to whether or not there's going to be a cost associated with it. I've seen generally anything from a free to about $25, $30, not talking financial contribution to participate. And you don't have to make any commitments to work with any of the professionals afterwards. Obviously, you have the option to do so, but there's no commitment that you do so.
Wow. Donna, I know you've been doing Second Saturdays for a long time as well. What got you wanting to do these and offer this amazing workshop?
I discovered the Second Saturday community quite by accident. I had obtained the Certified Divorce Financial Analyst designation back in 2002. And when I started talking with the attorneys in the area, they almost like wanted to shut me down, because I think, my impression was they thought I was going to be taking billable hours from them. So I had a big learning or a coaching challenge ahead of me, because I had to educate attorneys on the fact that actually I was going to be an asset to the divorce team, because I was going to help their clients save money and to help them help their clients make more informed decisions about their money. And then they would end up with a better divorce settlement. So once I learned that I was going to have to add something to build the credibility that attorneys would let me into their world, I started Googling and found out that the workshop was held in San Diego. I literally flew from Birmingham to San Diego with this, because I think there were people in Texas, maybe somebody in New York that was doing it. And I said, I've got to go sit down and see what we're doing. So since that time, they've actually nationalized it, and we're able to offer this throughout the US. So for me, I love the fact that it's a community spirit. We are literally there to educate people on what divorce is, what the process looks like, how to take good care of yourself and your family, even your adult children, as we go through the process, so that people know. We've got to get them educated. And then, as Cary was saying, we're always happy to engage with people from a professional perspective if it's appropriate and they want our help with anything. But we're putting ourselves out there as a resource to help educate them, much like the purpose of this book. We want people to be informed about what they don't know, so that they're not afraid to hire the appropriate team members when they get to that point in the divorce process.
Ooh, yes. All about team, going back to that, taking the drama out of divorce and surrounding yourself with your team. This has been so educating for myself, for the viewers as well. We're going to take a quick break here. You do not want to go away, because Cary's going to share her divorce trend, her divorce tip. We're going to go into a little bit of a breathing grounding exercise. And my goal with this season is to also give, at the end of each episode, a stress tool for the women going through it. When those emotions are heightened, you feel very overwhelmed and stressful. What's something in your toolbox that you can bring out, whether it's breath work, a visualization, something to keep you going and feel very grounded as well. So Cary and Donna, thank you so much for going into the different legalities of divorce, the different pathways of getting divorced, and really exploring what mediation can look like to help take the drama out of it. So stay tuned with us. We'll be right back.
Each lady at the Women's Wealth Boutique shares their asset, their magic that they bring to the world. Bringing women together for the greater good is my greatest asset. Uniting women to make huge impacts on women with their wealth. Money is power. Money is a tool to get you the life you desire, to make your own impact, your own legacy. You are worthy of this wealth. If you don't believe me, you can hear it from every single woman at the Women's Wealth Boutique. Hearing new beliefs from experts is another way to rewire your brain. So let's begin with your own healing. You are worthy to invest in yourself. You are worthy of millions, of billions. You are worthy of God's blessings. You are worthy of all the desires you've ever had. You are worthy. We aren't called financial trendsetters for nothing at the Women's Wealth Boutique. Each journey with these ladies, you will see new, innovative, trailblazing strategies that we use with our clients. Our mission is to impact millions of women around the world with their wealth. We are doing things differently at the Women's Wealth Boutique. We are challenging the status quo at the Women's Wealth Boutique. We are here for change to disrupt the financial industry.
All right, ladies, we are back. And part of my favorite part of the show, a segment, is what is the trend, Cary, that you are seeing when it comes to divorce world? What's been going on? Give us the dirt.
I will say that's a little bit of a troubling trend, which is people choosing not to work with attorneys. in the divorce process.
I agree. I've noticed that too.
Yeah. So I will say that it's very common in my mediation practice where, both parties kind of come in and they say, we are choosing this because we don't want to work with attorneys. And I have many reasons why I believe that's the case. But I think that that's troubling. I think that there are attorneys out there that really do have your best interest at heart and want to ensure that you are protected, but don't want to blow your settlement up, don't want to inflame the situation, but want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can and getting the best outcome that you can. And so even in the mediation space, we always encourage our clients to work with an attorney for that preparation piece, to review the agreement afterwards, because we don't want people making decisions that are not informed decisions and having issues arise later.
Ooh, yes. How about you, Donna? I've been noticing this.
Yes, I will tell you the do-it-yourself is not the way to go because there are too many things that can go wrong. But the one trend that I'm seeing that I think everybody is aware of, because there's actually a term for it, is gray divorce. Mm-hmm. So the divorce rate has actually gone down in general, but if you look at the number of divorces for those that are 50 or older, those are on the rise. And that is a totally different situation because most of these people are no longer working. So the financial impact can be totally different. So, but that's a trend that we're continuing to see. People are living longer and they're getting divorced later in life.
Yes. I remember my friend was doing the no attorney divorce. They mediated everything. They earned similar incomes, right? They just split their assets. But I kept saying, just go to an attorney, just go to an attorney. And she did because they forgot to put on their credit cards, their cars, like these small little things that don't seem like a big deal. But let's say he blows up his credit card and you're still on there and he hasn't paid it off yet. And now it's your credit score. All of that can become very tangled, and especially after a divorce, you want that divorce nice and tidy. You don't want any loose ends to sink into your future, right? You want to be able to put that to bed, package up nice and tight, and move on as well. Cary, how about your tip? What is your divorce tip, that go-to thing that all women need to know when they're going through this time?
So for me, again, I'm going to go back to that mediation as the best choice. And it's especially important for those women who may have kids, whether they're minor kids or even adult kids. You're in this co-parenting thing for the long haul. Even when your kids are adults, you're still going to be co-parenting these people, right? And so mediation really is an opportunity for parents to learn how to effectively communicate so that it really sets them up for better co-parenting post-divorce.
Wow, very good, Cary. I didn't even think about that spin on it. I love the mediation because what's the first thing that women usually ask? It's like, well, what am I entitled to? What is the judge going to say? I'm like, well, mediation's different. You get to throw out that box, especially if you don't fit into that pretty typical box, or marriage, financial situation with the kids or whatnot. You get to think of all these different ways, all these different solutions to this one problem, and you get very creative on it as well, too, and probably feel more heard than you would also. You know, to express, right, this is the reason why this is so important to me, or to have this schedule with the kids or whatnot too. That is very good, Cary. The co-parenting, bringing it back to when your experience being 7 years old, that's very young. My mom, remember, she was 4 when her parents got divorced. And I've said this before, the judge put her on the stand in front of both of the parents and asked, who do you want to live with as a 4-year-old? She's like, well, I speak the truth. So she said both, and they lived in different states, Maryland and upstate New York. So here's a 4-year-old going on the train to go by herself to go see her parents growing up. So it's great that you had that experience, and now you can take that into your work as well, Cary.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
We've moved a long way from scenarios where you put a 4-year-old in the stand, which is,
Thank goodness.
yes.
Thank goodness. We're going to do a quick shout out to, because this Divorce Decode is one of our spinoff books, anthology books, multi-author books from our first one, Financial Trendsetters. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to Financial Trendsetters. All right, ladies, we are coming up to the part of the show where we are going to give you some tools when you feel that stress heightening in your body. The first thing, and I actually just learned this over the weekend from my good friend who's been studying the nervous system. So shout out to Ashley Peterson here. But our body knows we are in stress before our mind does. So start to notice, right? Our mind's playing catch up to the symptoms that are happening in our physical body. So if you start shaking your leg a lot, or you're playing twitching with something, or maybe you get really red or flushed, or you start sweating, you tighten your jaw, your stomach, right? Or your back. There's all different symptoms in our physical body that can clue us in that our body's in a period of stress before our mind's awakened to it. And then we can be more proactive in managing and regulating stress. Our goal is not to get rid of stress completely. It's an impossible one. And you would probably be just stuck in your room all day long meditating, but then eventually that will become stressful because you're becoming irritable, right? There's always going to be stress, and stress is good because if we can learn how to manage it and cope with it, we just become more and more resilient. And what is Cary and Donna, you work with women going through divorce all the time. They're a different person on the other side of divorce, right? They've become so much stronger, more resilient, confident as they're going through it, and they're making it. They're starting to survive and thrive through something that they thought was going to tear them down and tear them apart as well. So stress is good when we can use it to our advantage as well. So when you start to notice physical symptoms of stress, your heartbeat starts to go faster. And when our heartbeat starts to go faster, right, we have less blood pumping to our mind. We have less nutrients going into our mind. So our proactive solution focused side of our brain kind of shuts down. And we lean on our survival part of our brain, which is, right, what do I need to survive and get through this moment? And we're going to look at how do we get through it in the past. That's how we're going to get through it now. Even though if how we did in the past isn't where we want it to be or how we wanted to persevere through it, we're still going to do that again because that's just what the brain knows. It's going to stick with that pattern, that path. And you could probably see and notice even within yourself patterns, paths that you just cycle as you see yourself on and you can't get off. So a quick tool to change that and to get the blood flowing and pumping again so that your brain is more open to solutions and looking at things from a different perspective is correct breath work. So there's so many different ways that you can do it. There's one where you can do really short and quick ones that can start to regulate you much quicker. Like, and especially when you do that noise afterwards, that can get it flowing again. Or also ones where you probably heard where you go breathe in twice, hold at the top, and then breathe out twice. I do this before I go to bed every night. Hold it at the top and out. And just that switch turns your mind back on. Oh, she's doing something different. That's not part of her normal exercise. And that can help you right there. Putting your hand on your heart, closing your eyes, and taking 2-3 deep breaths in, holding and out. And just doing that a few times can really change the cycle. You can even get up to the count of 10. I do one meditation when we do that. And we'll just do up to 4. 4 deep breaths in. I feel like you can't fill it up anymore. And then slowly out to 4. Feel how expansive that is. And then you go back to your normal breath. You feel like you've just expanded. You let more oxygen in, right? It's just like a massage on your nervous system. You let more in, you expanded. You can even pinpoint certain areas of your body to breathe into as well. So we are starting to run out of time, ladies. We're going to talk about this more and more each episode, though, because we want to give you toolkits for managing with the stress during the times of divorce. Cary, we have one more question from you, and it's from one of our special people here at Pink Fix Productions.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
What makes you a woman behind the millions, Cary?
Really helping people keep that drama out of divorce so that they come out on the other side in a healthier, more satisfying space in their life, really moving on to that next chapter.
Yes. And a side benefit, keeping more of the money than
Absolutely.
it just being wasted, whether it's taxes or attorney fees. Yeah, their lifetime. So much of the drama, the emotions, the time, the money that just get thrown to the wind as well. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cary. And thank you, Donna, our co-host for today. She did an amazing job, everybody, for being on here for tonight's episode of Women Behind the Millions. We will see you next week as we dive into another fabulous woman from our new series, Divorce Decoded, here on the show, as well as our book coming fall of 2024. Good night, everyone.
Hey, money queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money